going on YouTube? So before we even know who, we gotta know how, and unfortunately there's not really a super fast and effective method for this. On the login screen there'll be an email option where you can punch in your email, go through the story and do your summons. If you don't like them, log out, come back here, and salted emails should be working. So you just punch a +1 after your email, rinse and repeat. Just keep incrementing until you get what you like. First off, if you're rerolling, you gotta reroll for a light or dark SSR, as these are going to be the hardest to come by and they are going to be strong between all forms of content due to having no elemental disadvantages. Pretty much any light or dark will be fine, but one I would recommend against is Shadow Sonya, as she kind of needs a whole team to build around her kit. Now she would be useful for something like the Aurora boss, but that's pretty much about it. If you have to pick one character, I would say Lily is definitely your best bet. She can be put in anything, PvE, PvP, doesn't matter, she's great in everything. But if you get sick of rerolling and you pull a Messiah, a Doki Doki, or a Heinrich, those are all strong, they're completely fine to just stop there. The easiest 1-2 power creep would be Messiah though, just due to the fact that he is a selfish DPS. Once we're happy with this, we can start looking at our red, green, and blue units for more rolls or for our selector. And if you're really insane, then you can try and pull for like multiple SSRs, but you know, that's on you. For RGBs, let's start with some early game options. These will be characters that will be able to help carry you from the early game into the end game, make the transition a lot more smooth. These might not be the best in slot option later on, but they serve their purpose well. First up is of course Tiamat, the queen of reroll guides. She's an incredibly strong unit that scales off of HP, has some baked in shield, a taunt, and knows how to take a pounding. Tiamat's big gimmick is taking and healing a bunch of damage, then turn into a dragon, whoop some lads, and do it all over again. The big benefit for me is the fact that because she scales off of HP, she becomes less gear dependent, so some trash gear you end up rolling could now instead go to her. Next up is Borgne. I put him in because although he might not be the greatest outside of PvP, he's still a fantastic unit that is probably one of the easiest characters to gear in the game, period. He can't crit, so now legitimately every bad rolled piece of gear that just has a bunch of attack and some speed can now go to him instead. He primarily scales off of attack, which scales his HP, which then scales his attack, which then means he's more durable, which then means he's doing big damage. Where am I? Anyway, he's easy to gear and an amazing cleaver in PvP as well. Last of my early game picks is my boy Hellkid. He not only looks badass, but he's an incredible team player. His whole shtick is stacking a bunch of attack to scale his team-wide shield, which also provides immunity to all debuffs while the shield is up. Insane. This means he's filling a strong role as a sub DPS while also keeping your team more durable. He can really fit anywhere and you definitely can't go wrong with him. As for our late game options, these will be characters that can still be strong early but probably won't be your hardcore carries until later on in the game, or they'll just be useful across multiple forms of content. Remember that the game is going to make us build Leanne anyway for some rewards, so she's definitely still great just to carry as your DPS up to late game. First is Rosa, who is probably the best blue DPS in the game. Problem with her though is that she wants her entire team to have crit, as her entire follow-up gimmick is dependent on her allies critting after her. She does provide a crit rate buff, but still leaves some RNG up in the air, and due to this want for team-wide gear, I feel you might struggle a bit more with her in the early game than you would with other characters, but late game she's got no contest. Next we got Beyonce, and I'm really just throwing her out there because she's an all-in-one package of a damage buffer. She provides attack, crit damage, cooldown reduction, and neat that she can also revive allies without herself really having any other healing capabilities. Can't go wrong with having her in your account. Now we got Real Mocha, and let's be honest, I'm only recommending her as she's the best DPS for the Doki Doki Gear boss, where you want to farm up primarily speed sets. At the end of the closed beta, of all the Inferno difficulty clears, she was the majority, if not the only DPS on everyone's team, so she'll make that transition there easier than other characters and will require less investment to push into the highest difficulty. And my last suggestion is Kloss, who I think is severely underrated. Utilizing her unique debuff, she can boost the damage you deal, make you take less damage, slows down enemies, and takes their turn gauge to give it back to your team. Beyonce is the all-in-one package, but especially because Kloss's debuff uniquely plays outside of generic stat buffs, she's just insane. The best part is once you've stacked enough of her debuff, it will then evolve into a stronger version that can't be dispelled, meaning she's perfect for any boss gimmick that would try to cleanse themselves. Pulling for pretty much any of these characters, you can't go wrong. It's a great way to get started and help get you on the right track to getting into endgame. And because there's not a lot of duds in the game really, if you end up not rerolling or you're part of the rebate gang, I wouldn't sweat it. You'll be fine. Thanks for watching, and as always, like, comment, subscribe, or don't. See ya.